Hey everybody, welcome to the Sustainable Alaska podcast with Kelly Foreman, and I'm Tandy Hogate. This is super fun that we're doing a live podcast. Kelly, thank you for agreeing to all the crazy ideas.
I hope this goes well. No, it'll be great.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really neat. We got some really neat questions, so it's going to be fun to answer those, and I think we're just going to have a good time. So, yeah, and thank you. Kelly went way above and beyond and made a whole outline for us. So we got lots to
You
talk about.
asked me to, and you do like all the work normally. So whenever you ask me to do one small task, I'm like, yes, Tandy, what can I do? Please, how can I help?
Oh, that's funny. I don't see it that way at all. It's definitely a mutual thing, but this is great. So I'm super excited to see we've got some folks in here. I think I know everyone. I'm just not sure who Nancy is. It just is Nancy's iPad. So, but Kathy, Hillary, and Lydia are um, they're actually all three lady homesteaders, so that's really fun. And um, yeah, so I'm excited to get started. Should we just start with introductions and go from there?
Yeah, sure.
All right, go ahead. You go first.
Well, I'm Kelly. I'm Kelly Foreman, and I tried to find a quiet place in our house at 7 p.m., which I could not. So I am out in our little blacksmith shop tonight. So hopefully it all works okay out here. But I'm down in Kodiak from the mainland. It's always fun to be able to say I'm down in Kodiak because normally we're up. But I'm down in Kodiak, on Kodiak Island, where we primarily have livestock. So just a little bit of everything. And I'm a struggling gardener. Do the best that I can do. Mom of three boys, wonderful, fantastic husband that just puts up with all the things. So I feel pretty blessed.
And
Anyway,
you have a couple new additions to your farm.
oh my goodness. I when I saw you last, I mean, I was like, I was planning on the two pigs. Then I ended up with two pigs and a puppy, which was not in the plan, but golly, oh, he's about the best thing ever. So,
Those puppy dog eyes, they'll
oh,
get you every time.
every time. Anyway.
That's so fun. And what kind of dog is he?
He is a little Dotson. He's a long-haired black and tan. Like he's so tiny, little guy.
He's so cute.
He's very
Loved.
cute.
I've really enjoyed seeing him on social media. He's already a
Yeah.
star.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, that's really fun. Well, very good. Well, I'm Tandy Hogate, and we have Common Ground Alaska Farm. We are on what Kelly calls the mainland. We are um, in Big Lake. We're about an hour, a little over an hour north of Anchorage. So we're having fun farming mostly fruits and berries. Yeah, so we're you pick, so that means we get to meet a lot of really incredible people. So that's the best part right there. So very we also do Alaska Homestead Academy, we do Lady Homesteaders, we do the Sustainable Alaska Magazine. I don't even know what all we do. We just do a lot of things. We just
We
we
do a
just
lot of good things.
we just have fun. We just, seem have a good idea. We just jump in with both feet and try and make it work. So, yeah.
That's right. That's
All
good.
right. So, Kelly, should we just start with the questions that were submitted, see what
Yeah,
questions we have, and then do the outline from there? Okay.
sure. Yeah.
All right. So we'll start with the submitted questions. So, the first question is, and this is such a good question. What keeps you motivated in the heart of a dark Alaskan winter? Oh, that's a great question.
It is a great question. And
You're
it's
like,
coming. It's coming so fast.
oh,
I
so
we
fast.
are already we've surpassed like my parents as far as daylight time, and it's getting dark. I'll be honest, the animals keep me going. Like they have to be milked and they have to be done. That's the tricky part with the dairy world. We keep going into the winter. It doesn't much matter. I mean, you take off the 2 months, but this like Ellie Mae's due the beginning of December. And so it's just the need to be there is great motivation. And then the other one, I'll be honest, I love winter because we have to be inside together, and there's no place I'd rather be than with Steven and the boys. And so we just draw up earlier because it's darker. And so just that keeps me going a lot. Just the joy of being together. I'm like, oh, and you get a little bit more sleep. Feels good sometimes.
It does. It does. That's so true. That was a good answer. And I think you're right. Animals are a big one because they need you and they rely on you. We took on the responsibility of raising them, so it's our job to make sure they get everything they need. So, yes, I agree with you. Um, Another thing that we do is we do a ton of hiking. We spend way more time out in the woods in the winter, and that's for a couple reasons. Sometimes I forget why we do, and then we go hiking in the summer and the mosquitoes are horrific, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why we don't, this is why we hike in the winter. So we snowshoe. We have a lot of burrow land behind our property, so we have we'll be out there for a couple hours sometimes in the afternoon, just hiking through the woods, and we have a couple trails. When we get fresh snow, we'll snowshoe and pack down the trail, and then we just walk because we walk it every day, so it stays pretty packed. And those walks made all the difference to me, as far as, because it forces you to get outside. And a friend of mine showed me a hack. She said, because we can't really ground much in the, and I try it. That is something I try to do a lot of. And she said, just touch a tree. So I'm just touching trees all along as we're walking, and that's the same as grounding. But the other thing that we do that's so similar to you, and we just started last year, and it's one of those things that I'm super excited for this year because I just kind of learned about this at the tail end of winter, is well, our house is filled with LED lights, and I've been learning about how they're not good for you. So, um, so we turn off our lights and sit in front of our wood stove, which is a red light, and we get our red light therapy in the house, looking at the fire, hanging out for an hour or whatever. And I cannot wait for the days to be short enough and cool enough, because like today, our door is still open even because it's so warm out. To actually put that into practice this winter, because there's nothing like it. So, um, those are our two answers. I'm super curious if anyone in the audience has an answer about this. If there's anything that you do to keep motivated in the heart of an Alaskan winter. Does anyone want to share? If you do, you just hit unmute and
Sure. This is Kathy from Eagle River. I would say that animals, we only have one dog and three cats. And the cats don't really motivate me to get outside, but my dog certainly does. I have a husky. He's a rescue and he has to be out every day or he goes crazy. And so I have another friend with a dog and we always get together and we have a bunch of friends that have dogs. And so, somebody can always go, it seems like, or we go by ourselves. But it's just so great to be out and it's really not bad when you get outside. If you just dress for it and make sure you've got good solid shoes, like ice bugs are totally worth their money for preventing falls and stuff. They're really good cleats. So yeah, I would just say my dog, I have him to thank, Mr. Mowgli.
That's so good. Those
yeah,
dogs.
very much so. I agree. That was a good one, Kathy. And I love that you get together with your friend too, and you both walk. That's cool. All right, I think Nancy has an idea too.
I keep, I'm just a starting market gardener, but I take my notebooks and I look over everything that went well, every market. I have my notes, and my planning is so essential. And um, like you, Kelly, I didn't go for one. I went for two puppies, and yeah, walking them every day. I'm looking forward to snowshoeing with them just because they're just too much fun. I went big. I went Maramas. Oh my God, what the hell was I thinking? But we're good. We're good. So planning is huge. Um, and then all the things I don't get to do in the summer, I actually promise myself I commit to 1 hour a day in the sewing machine. It's like ironing, it's like meditation. It's so therapeutic. So that's me.
That was inspiring. Wow, good for you. I love the like creative time because that's hard to do in the summer. It's hard to, we're so busy and so whew, especially as summer wraps up. Um, and you'll make it through the puppyhood stage of the Maramas. We had one, his name was Fezzik, and he did eventually grow up and he was much more fun. It was a good, I used to always say it's really a good thing he's so dang cute because he was a chewer. All right. Okay. The next question is, I love this question. I'm so excited, Kelly, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. What are your thoughts regarding what commodity to first begin with as a homesteader? I feel like I struggle since I have so many interests. For example, bees, crops, livestock, pressure canning, food preservation, etc. And so just to recap, her question is, where do you start?
It's so interesting. This has changed for me. I originally I would always have people be like, "Oh, goats are such a great start. They're the worst start ever." Like don't start with goats. But
Okay.
I I think but 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 coming back to and I did not grow up with chickens. So, I have a disclaimer. However, and I'm coming from more of an ag side, I guess, but chickens are a fantastic start. So my top two, and aren't my favorite animals that I have at all, but I think they're a great entry way, are chickens and rabbits. Those are my top two. Rabbits, if you they are the fast, if you're thinking really homestead life, they are your fastest protein turnaround. And
Mm.
they are, your kids can easily do those chores, same with chicken chores. There's a lot of, you know anyway, chickens and rabbits. Now, today, rabbits are not my favorite. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to not have rabbits, but I still believe so strongly that if our modes of transportation were to shut down, I don't want to not have a male and a female rabbit in my home. So those would be my top two.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I would say where not to start. Um, Two is I probably wouldn't start with a milk cow because and I would never say I'm an expert or know everything about anything, but I believe, we've raised a lot of animals and we're raising a milk cow, and the learning curve is much steeper than I anticipated. And I mean, Kelly, you came all this way, and I just kept asking you, how do I not screw her up? It's there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of knowledge that's needed. So, I mean, I almost not to discourage. I mean, Mabel is my favorite on the farm. You probably aren't supposed to say that, huh? I'm sure the chickens and turkeys aren't listening. But but Mabel's my. I love Mabel. I wouldn't give her up for the world now, but man, it's hard. So, but if you're more looking for if you so that was a good idea for protein to do rabbits and chickens. And if you're looking on the food side, I would say it seems like people always start with a vegetable garden, which is great. But you know what, those vegetables are easy to find. You can go to everybody has a vegetable stand. Fruit's a lot harder to find. I think if I was just starting, I'd plant an orchard. Partly because it takes, an apple tree, it can take 3 or 4 or 5 years for it to produce. So while you're growing this orchard, next year you can start a new thing. But now you've planted an apple tree and some honeyberries and you've got some things coming. But fruit's really expensive up here, and it's a little harder to come by. So I think that's kind of what I would probably start with would be the orchard if you were not wanting to start with animals. So, um, and then you've got with an orchard, you've got 3 or 4 years to learn food preservation.
That's right.
Okay. So the next question, and I'm not sure either one of us are going to be able to answer, but it says, do either of you grow any kind of fodder, trees, bushes, or crops? And are there ones that you recommend or don't recommend up here? And we don't do anything at all with fodder.
So it was interesting. I was just in Anchor Point. That's where I got my pigs, was Anchor Point. And they have 2 fodder systems there. And um it was interesting because they're like, hey, don't you want to take this fodder system? And I was like, that looks very overwhelming to me. However, I did start to look into the fodder world because it's a sustainable, renewable, way to feed your animals. And so you can do a really simple fodder system with a shelving, and your lights and set that up. I've not, like, it's still sitting there. I have all the things to start it, and it's still
Mm.
sitting there because I have great intentions, and then until there's the necessity for it. However, feed prices might drive me to it. And they had gotten this fodder system because of the hay prices, and there was no hay at that time when they needed it. So I do not have a lot of experience with it. I'm always a little bit on the outside of it just because of the dairy animals. I really need the consistency of nutrient denseness in their feed to keep the milk supply where I'm at. So I'd need to do it with like the sheep or the rabbits or something like that.
Yeah. Well, just like anything, if you start small and figure it out and make a system,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. It doesn't, so this doesn't fall within fodder, but this year we did not, but typically we do use a whole grain chicken feed, and we do ferment it. And I know that's different, but it's kind of the same in that we're trying to find things that we can use locally, source locally. And oh, okay, it's threatening a software update right now. Okay, we'll hope that doesn't happen. um, uh, I do like, and I think, and it's something that I need to work on more. But this year I didn't have time, so we would just went to bag feed. But I do like doing that. But that's still not the fodder system. So that's cool that there are people down out here who are doing it. That would be a really good expo class, actually. That would be an excellent
It
expo
would
class.
be. It would be an excellent one.
Does anyone else have any fodder suggestions?
I do.
Oh, good. Oh, go Nancy.
Tell us,
So-
Nancy.
So I've been growing what I thought was wheatgrass for the past decade for my hens, and now ducks and hens. But it technically goes into the fodder stage. And so it's just you, and I had to do a little thing on it in a course some time ago, a little video about it. But basically I got it down and I started this week, and I don't let up until we don't call it green up here. So technically I do it. It grows as high as it can. I take it out. It's just, you yank it up out of the pot, out of my trays. And I went to small trays instead of the 1020s. And it's just so much easier. And I got a system down, and, to 6-7 days, it's 4 or 5 inches tall. I have one dedicated light rack with 3 rows, 3 lights, 3 shelves. And it's just finding what works for you, basically. And I found these super sprouter, they're a container, it's almost a quart. I find them on True Leaf Market, and they are the bomb, for rinsing and soaking and between rinses. And it's just another chore. It's 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night.
Mhm.
And it grows, and the birds really, I think, they inhale everything. And unfortunately, I've been using Anchor Point fishy peat. I just put a thin skin on the bottom of the tray, and that is more, they eat that. That's gone. So I can't find something better that works as a substrate. And I haven't just used nothing. So, but yeah, you get in a system and it's great.
That's cool. That's inspiring. That was very good. Thank you. I love it. Okay. Okay. Our last question that was sent in advance. Can you talk about how to balance how much of what you produce should be kept for yourself or sold, and when should something be sold versus given away? I can justify keeping everything to feed my family or sharing with my friends, and it makes me happy to share with others. Boy, can I resonate with this question.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm at the point, it's really interesting because I actually have some mildly successful garden, and it's just in me to think, oh, I should take some of this to the farmer's market. Like I should like these zucchini or squash because they're really hard to get in Kodiak, as odd as that probably sounds to the mainland, like to get zucchini and squash that are fresh here is a big deal. Anyway, but as I had it, I was like, no, these are just so valuable. I can't sell them. I have to give them away. And the same thing with green beans. That was another one. And I have bags and bags of green beans this year. And I thought, oh, I could take them to the market. And I was like, no, I can't. They're too valuable. I have to give this away. And that's my friends were over this last weekend. We had something going on. I was like, can I send you all home with some green beans and zucchini? And they're like, you can't. Like, that's really, I was like, I want to. And it is, that's where you could say, like, I feel like in that sense, yes. Like if you can give it away, that is so fantastic. I can't do that with milk and ice cream and those. I have to make money. But what I'd make on that zucchini is so small in comparison to what I feel like's gained through being able to give it away. So I think there's a give and take. You obviously need to be able to grow more and to produce more. So you can't give it all away. But there's also just, it does feel so good to give something away. Okay.
Especially something you've grown or raised yourself,
Yes.
because that just feels really, you're really proud of it and it's fun to share. I agree with you. And I think that maybe you and I have an advantage in that. So for us, it's probably a little easier because the UPick farm is our livelihood. We have 6 weeks to make a year's worth of money. So, and we don't just live on the farm by any means, but we have 6 months, or excuse me, 6 weeks for the farm to at least self-support, which it's taken us a long time to get to that point. And, so we can't really give that away. And I just know that we can't financially. It would, it would be harder, I think, if there wasn't a business behind it. And I was thinking, well, it'd be nice to make, a friend of mine used to sell chaga every year, and she sold enough chaga to take her family to Hawaii. They took their family to Hawaii every year. It's what she sold chaga for. And I can totally see like doing like a small market type thing where you're just making enough money just for Christmas gifts or for vacation or something like that. And that would make it trickier because then where do you sell? Because it's like you said, it's so fun to give it away too. Um, so I just think you have to go with your heart. That's what I think. I think that sometimes that it's time to give stuff away. We don't typically do gleaning, but we do choose to do that with some people because we know it's a need. And yeah, and that just feels like the right thing to do. So we weren't very helpful to Kelsey, but um
We tried.
we did. We did. And then Nancy just posted a question. How do you stick to your plan of dedicating your time to your gardening needs rather than the market? Nancy, I'm not going to answer this question because I have green beans that are the size of a dinosaur in my greenhouse because I've been ignoring it because I refuse to go in there because I don't have time to deal with them. So, I would say I don't balance it and I don't stick to the plan. So,
I am working my darndest this year. I went to my parents' house at the beginning of May, and I was just so inspired by my dad's garden and the amount of time and their freezer was empty. And when I had been there that previous year in October, it was completely full. So they had used everything that they had put up in that garden. And I really thought, I need to do this. I need to really work hard to make the time to just get this done. And I'm not clearly, I think maybe this goes with the previous question of giving it away. Like, let me give this away because then I don't have to deal with those green beans. But I'm really trying to look at like what do I have? How am I going to get, how do I supply enough for my family? And like this year I decided I'm keeping every cabbage that I have. None of those are going, I'm not giving them away. I'm not like I will eat every cabbage and I'm still going to buy cabbage. That's one of my staple foods. And so I was very dedicated to say no, we need these. We need every darned cabbage that we have. And now our fridge is full. And Steven's like, why do we have all these cabbage? But like, I'll use them, I promise. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to do better. I'm not there yet, though.
I think it's a give and take. Last year I worked in my garden a lot and it was so pretty. And I was so proud of it because it was not just it produced a ton and it also was just really pretty. I planted flowers out there and too, and it just the aesthetics were amazing. And this year we just jumped into the season and everything kind of got thrown out and nothing quite worked out the way I wanted it to. And it's interesting to me how that aesthetic took
Mhm.
some of the fun away of, well, and I'd never planted mustard before. So I did not know that a mustard plant is giant and 40 or 50 mustard plants is going to take over. So I didn't know that. And then I didn't know, do I get rid of the mustard? Do I get rid of my onions? Like, what do I get rid of? There's not room for everything in here. So, um, yeah, it's this for so I think it's kind of an ebb and flow, Nancy. I probably wasn't I think Kelly was definitely more helpful. You just got to dig in and do it. So
No.
or just shut the door and pretend it's not there. One or the other.
It is interesting. I have a friend that she has a market garden in Palmer, and she made a comment to me. She said I realized that I was having a problem when I'm sitting here every night eating frozen pizza, and I'm selling all this organic produce. And that's very convicting all in and of itself. Like there was one day, and it has not been this year because I went and I bought milk. I was like, I have a dairy and I have sold every last piece of milk that my family does not have milk. And I went to the store. I was like, I have goats and a cow out there. What am I doing? And that's when you're like, adjust. Like, this is not okay. Anyway.
So true. So true. For sure. Yeah, I agree. That was a good one. All right. So I'm happy to open things up to the audience if anybody wants to ask a question. Otherwise, Kelly and I have a couple of other things that we can talk about and ask you all. So you didn't know this was going to be audience participation, but but does anyone have a question that you'd like to go over? If you do, you can just unmute. I'll see that and we'll know. Otherwise, we will just move on with Kelly's amazing outline that she made. That was awesome. So, okay, go ahead, Hillary.
Hi. So this is totally on a different question for Kelly, but I'm curious about her. Well, you both do social media to a degree, but Kelly, your Instagram presence and stuff. So I'm curious how that works in your life. Like, how do you integrate the whole posting? Do you have like a virtual assistant? And like, how did you really get that up and going?
I don't have a virtual assistant. Everybody always says you gotta have like I don't have I don't have anything. I don't even have a tripod. I as odd as my thing at the beginning was if I can't just do this and prop my camera somewhere, I'm not going to do it. So if I'm propping my camera truly, it's like please don't fall in the water bucket or like and there have been times that I'm like sifting through goat hooves to try and grab my phone that has fallen, or something like that. But um I originally I originally thought, and I still would say this to a certain degree, I started it because I wanted my family to be able to keep up with things that I was doing, and this was just a fun way to do it. I do it a lot for me too. It's been interesting. The folks that I have met through Instagram are actually very inspiring to me too, and that may be one of those things that's motivating. Like I'm like, I show up for all of us every day. Like we're gonna talk. We're gonna, like we're gonna I'm here too. Like I'm up and I'll consistently be there. I don't follow all the Instagram rules very well. Like one that I break daily is they're like, oh, you need to limit the stories you're gonna share. Like don't share stories or do and I'm like, nah, not gonna listen to that. I'm just gonna do it my own way. And I guess I've learned things. I look at the first video I've ever posted and I was like, oh, I've learned a couple of things. But as long as it is fun and uplifting and I think hopefully helps bring joy, that's where it started. So I really I do it for the fun of it. I don't make anything off of it. I guess, well, that's not entirely true. Like this past year, like I am an ambassador for Duckworth. So, like if they make a sale, I might get 10% of that. Like it'll equate to maybe $100 this year. So it's really not so much of that. But like Duckworth came and they had a great time filming out here and it was just fun to hang out with them and to get to know that crew. So, I'm not sure I'm answering it fully correctly. Being consistent though, for me, it has grown the Instagram base that I have. I post every day and I spin every morning and whatever I get done on that spinning bike and then I go. Like I will not check messages unless it's Tandy. I try and check Tandy's messages. I double check but I normally promise myself I'm not going to check messages. And if I can't get it done in that time that I'm on the bike, it's just going to have to wait till the next day because I don't want to be on my phone all the time with my family. And thankfully, my kids have now grown up with it. And so, like, my oldest son, who's 15, his buddies are like, dude, your mom has like an Instagram. Like, how about that? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Grace. And he's like, no, it's kind of cool. I'm like, oh, that's super. So hopefully that stays for a while because I don't have any of the family resistance yet. But met some of my, like, met Tandy through this way, met some of my best friends over Instagram. Thankfully, I guess I didn't grow up with it, so I see a lot of fantastic benefits from it. Anyway.
I have to say to kind of answer Hillary's question, Kelli, two things I appreciate about what you post. One is that you just post your everyday life. And it's not ever flashy. And like the fact that it's not, the word isn't really scripted, but that's what I feel like. It's not like you have curated a scene.
Yeah.
Although sometimes your goats make it look like you've curated it. Because
they're very wonderful.
they are. They're like, how would you like me to stand and would you like me to smile? It's the
I
cutest thing.
know.
And your puppy. But I appreciate that it's just kind of everyday life. So to me, it feels like when whenever we make it to Kodiak, I'll feel like, oh, I've already been to Kelli's house and I've already been in this barn and and you just kind of, but also watching you do life makes those of us who are also doing life feel like yeah, we can do this too. So I feel like you're educational with it. The other piece is that I guess I kind of said both of them at once, that it's not scripted and it's just kind of every day. But Kelli, I have to ask you, why do you always post to stories and not just do posts? Some of your stories I'm like, man, I wish this was a post. I would love to share it. Oh, think we lost her. She didn't want to answer my question. Oh, you're back. I think we lost
Uh-oh.
you for a minute.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
What? All right. So why do I say it again? Sorry.
Why do you always post to stories and not do posts? I've often wondered that. Because
So I
sometimes
try
I want to share
I
what
do
you.
one post a day. Like I'll do one reel or like something a day. I do one of those, but those are more scripted. And then I have to spend a little extra time. Where with a story, I'm like, here we go. It's just so easy. And you do not grow your Instagram following from stories. I know that. But it's fun. Like I don't know. That's where you get engagement, you talk to people. So I definitely, I try to do one reel or post a day. And I know that goes, to your main feed. And then I just enjoy stories. But if I go look for somebody on Instagram, like if I see somebody and they have a really neat reel and I like, oh, I'm gonna click on that, and then I don't see anything, I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about these people. I feel like if somebody sees me and then they click on my stories, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, or like, oh no. Like we don't want that. And they'll move along.
That's fun. I remember when I asked you about this a long time ago, you said you started it because I know you said for your family, but you said you fashioned everything like you were talking to your mom. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was just another thing that I remembered you saying. I didn't know if that would
Yeah.
help Hillary at
And
all.
I was gonna say, I still do. It's very much like I'm just having a conversation. My mom has MS and she can't walk. But she's the one who taught me all these things. Like she was the goat lady and she was like she was me, like times 10. And so I always have felt like I want to help be her hands and her feet. And so she needs to see it every day, is to be able to know that like I'm working for you too, mom. So anyway.
Aw, that's really special. And I think the fact that you're bucking the system and not doing what everyone says you should do is part of what makes it good too.
Yeah. I like it. It's fun.
Hillary, did you have any other questions? Did you want to dig a little deeper, or did you feel like we answered it? Or well, Kelly, the question.
No, I mean, that was good. It's funny because I actually learned about Kelly's Insta through when I was on a trip. I was down in Eugene, Oregon, and going to somebody's house to learn about goats and milking goats. And they said, well, don't you know about this? Of course, they're in Oregon saying like, oh, it's Alaska. She's just down the road, and she's in it. So anyway, it was just funny. So it's like I learned about Kelly through somebody down in Oregon. So I got home back to Juneau at that point, and I was like, who is this woman? So, and actually, Kelly, I have to tell you, because today's Monday, so my husband's been hanging out with your goat or your cows today out on Woody. So today was his.
Oh, Jeff is your husband, right?
Brent.
Jeff? Brent, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, well,
oh,
like
how fun. I saw the boat go over this morning.
Like, oh,
anyway,
he was on
sorry.
today with Woody Day. So anyway, totally sidebar. But no, I think that kind of answers it. I've just, been curious about the idea of doing something, but it's also so full right now. But you have such a cool niche with just the humor. You and your husband just have such a great, it's a fun channel. So anyway.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But I started with one. Like I remember when it was one, and we haven't bought any subscribers. We never did any of the group things, anything. It's all been the slow boat, but it's
apparently it's working. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really cool. You've done very well, and you've inspired all of us. That's fun.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question? Kathy, I muted you. I didn't know if you were unmuted to ask a question, but there was some background noise, so you're welcome to unmute if you have one.
Cool.
Okay. So we have a few minutes left, and Kelly, I loved a couple of these questions. So, I like this kind of goes in line with what keeps you motivated in the heart of winter. One of the questions that you talked about was how do you prepare for Alaska's seasons? And I think especially right now with winter prep, what does winter prep look like for you right now?
So we get a lot of ice. We are like, that's Kodiak. So I always start thinking about it a little earlier because my goats and my cow have to get from their shed to the milking parlor, which can just be an ice field. So like making sure we have plenty of rock on hand. We don't use salt. We use rock. I don't know if do you use rock on the mainland or do you use sand or salt?
I haven't had to do anything
Oh,
because we just
oh, probably packs down, huh?
yeah, we just because we only had chickens.
Oh,
So I've never had a
okay.
large animal till just
Okay.
now, but she's on, she's on a hill. So we're gonna have to do
Yeah,
something.
gonna do a little something. It'll be great.
So what
And
do
then
you
feed,
use?
feed. Oh, we get rock. I put rock out so that they can keep their traction. There were a couple of really bad days in the winter where the goats were literally ice skating to the
Ugh,
parlor. And I was like, this was a bad idea. I'm so sorry, girls. Like, if I can just get you back, I will never do this again. And then it was like, I put straw down one. Anyway, so rock is really helpful. The other thing is feed orders because we have the barge will pass us by in the winter pretty frequently, making sure I have feed on hand for everybody.
that
Yeah.
brings me to a question. I did not know. I think most of us here are not in Kodiak. You have rats?
Yeah, like the size of barn doors. They're horrible.
I saw that. Ugh, that makes
That that comes back. They had a question in here like your epic fail. Try buying too much feed in bulk.
mm,
You waste a lot of money because you try every fisherman hack like to save like I put detergent all around my feed. I'm building stuff and it's tremendously tricky to keep the rats out.
ugh. Yeah, that would be hard. We have mice up here, but we do not have rats, and that seems like that would be we also have 6 barn cats, and so we don't. I don't even have. I see where people have to put their. Now at least while the cats are doing their job. Our feed is just in feed bags. We don't have a single mouse. I mean, we have mice on the place. I see them dead everywhere, but the cats just do their job and they keep the mice at bay. But rats would be. I don't even know what kills a rat. That would be tough.
My son's pellet gun.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. It's horrible.
They
We
need a
had a
predator.
we had oh, I shouldn't even disclose this. These are those things that you don't always tell all your secrets, but I put on with my little farm helpers and then my son, I was like, we'll have a rat competition, guys. The winner at the end of the year, I don't even remember what I have. It was like a trophy with who could get the most rats. And it was substantial numbers.
That's crazy. I don't envy you that. I'll
Yeah.
keep my valley life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that I mean there's that tricky part. You need to stock up on feed, but you don't want to stock up on so much feed that you end up with a rat infestation. That's tough.
Right. Right.
So, here's another question that I thought would be a really good one if for people who are, thinking about what's next. What animals or crops give you the biggest return for your work? I love that question.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh boy. I like these are for you too. That cow that you have growing up over there. That's honestly, I would right now our cattle, Hillary, our cattle on Woody Island are a great return for the investment spent on them. Didn't start that way. Obviously, getting them to Woody, having to get the boat, taking them over and getting them established. But now that, they eat the grass and the kelp. We don't really have to feed them at all. And then we have this beautiful harvest come November. Like they're a great return. So that's the easy. However, um, while I am with you, Tandy, I would not encourage somebody just to like full blown start with a milk cow. That has been the most mind-blowing experience I've had in the past 3 years that I've had Maggie and now, have Ellie Mae and um, the return on the investment. I mean, truly, one cow and I'm getting 7 gallons of milk a day, and then he's like, I have all these goats. Now there are great benefits to goats, but good gracious, these cows are amazing.
I agree. And I think something about not everybody is going to be able to have the ability to have a milk cow, but people like to have milk. So I think there's a lot of bartering. There's a lot of bartering power with milk too, where you know, I don't know if things get a little crazy or whatever's happening when you have milk, it feels like you have kind of money in the bank. But keeping the stinking cow alive, as I'm thinking about, I need to stock up on our feed, and she's little now, she doesn't eat much, but by the end of winter she'll be bigger. So thinking through all
You
that.
will. Yeah.
I would say, what animals or crops give you the biggest return for your work? For us, on the farm, I would say honeyberries, because because people love them and everybody wants them. And our thousand person day this summer proved that it's a great commodity to have. So maybe they are more valuable than a milk cow. I don't know. But um but personally, like, I get so much joy out of, this is the dumbest thing, and I didn't think this would be the case, and we just butchered on Saturday, and it was kind of hard. Um, I really like our turkeys. Uh, they're quirky and funny and weird, and they make weird noises, and but they're so friendly, and they're so big that they feel more personable than a little chicken. And they always come anytime we're outside, wherever we are. They're at the spot of the fence that's closest, so they can see us, and they gobble at us and talk to us. And it's just really cool. And that's there's something to be, everything doesn't have to have a financial benefit. I think sometimes it's that
Right.
just emotional giving back. But it makes the flip side of, we kept three. We kept a male and a tom and two hens, and but the rest, and we raised them from eggs. So that's the hard part, you know. But we've still got these guys, and they're a lot of fun. So
That's great.
I don't know. I mean, is there one more? Did you want to go? Did you have a question? Did you want to choose one more real quick before we?
I was curious, maybe other people have this one, but like your most useful farm tool that you
Ooh.
have. And I was going all over the place, and I came back to just a good old pitchfork. My life would be so hard without a pitchfork. I mean, so simple. Like, and I had an old farmer friend of mine that he's like, why does your pitchfork look new? And I'm like, because I broke my pitchfork, Brian. Like, I'm trying here. Leave me alone. Like, he's like, your dad would not appreciate your new pitchfork, Kelly. And I was like, Brian, they didn't like, I don't have an old pitchfork from Nebraska, but I'm like, I use them all the time. And so I have them strategically placed. So pitchfork is mine. I'm curious, other people's favorite tool that they not just animal, like maybe it's a hoe or some type of hand tool that you're like, this makes my life so much better.
Yeah,
And
I'd be. While they're thinking on it, I have to share my pitchfork story. For those of you who didn't read it, I've had the same pitchfork pretty much since we moved here, because pitchforks are $50 or $60. And that just seems like a really lot of money to spend on something that, I mean, it just doesn't have any glam, you know? So to spend 50 or 60 bucks on it. So, but this thing, for, I don't know, probably 10 years. Well, my son is 29. My youngest son is 29. And he said, Mom, that pitchfork's been broke since I graduated from high school. So it's been broke for a long time. It works great until you pitch, and then the end goes with it. So, and I can't tell you how many bad words it makes you say when you're trying, because, there's a lot of pitching when you're cleaning out a barn, trying to turn the compost or do whatever. And so this last time I was cleaning out the barn, and Mabel was being so Mabel. She's such a baby, and she was just being herself, and she accidentally kicked me. And like, it was just one of those, I tried to make a funny story out of it, because I was trying to, haha, we're having fun. But really, I was extremely frustrated. And Jean came in, and I said, I don't care if we have to mortgage the place. We're buying a stupid pitchfork. So we went to town the next day, and we bought a brand new one. And I have to side with you, Kelly, because that brand new pitchfork works so good. I don't, and it has a rivet so I know it's not going to come apart. And oh, so I mean, I almost have to say a good tool, whatever it is,
Huh.
instead of dealing with the crappy broken down one. Oh, it's so good. We don't have to deal with these old broken down tools. $50 really isn't going to make or break the day. It's a couple of pizzas at the pizza place. So yeah, so I think there's importance in having a good tool. So does anyone else have a tool that they want to share before we go? Gene, Gene has an opinion.
What'd Gene say?
He said a John Deere. We built this whole place without a tractor.
Gene, I'm a Case International gal.
Oh,
Are we gonna have fighting? No.
it's a good thing you told us this after you came.
After
She's a Case
he wouldn't have made me the
International
best cup of coffee I had all week.
Oh, he said they'll do in a pinch.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have a tool? Laura, you came off mute, or somebody else, or Hillary?
I was
Yeah. Oh, go
Oh.
ahead, Hillary.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was going to just chime in on your time about the tools. When we first moved to this house and we just need to get all the tools, and I just grabbed a shovel, I did not realize there was quality in shovels. I've usually been given them or secondhand anyway. And so I bought a shovel, and my husband was the first one to use it, him and the boys, while I was out doing stuff. And I came home and he said, "This is the worst shovel." And it was just, I won't say the store, but it was just their store brand. And you step on it with your foot and the whole thing just like crumpled instead of going in. It was like the worst. So he immediately sent me back to the store to get like an actual real shovel. I just had never even thought of it. But I would say my favorite tool by far, because we've never had an ATV or any kind of thing, is a gorilla cart. A gorilla cart that dumps is like amazing for bedding and like soil, all this stuff. When you don't have that, I highly recommend at least getting a dumping gorilla cart, because they are back savers. So
Fantastic.
That's
That's so
a
good.
good one. And that's
Lori,
probably
what were you
one of
gonna
those
say?
that
I was
go ahead.
gonna mention that too. What Hillary did is to try to buy quality tools, and sometimes you need to have your own tools, as opposed to my husband and I. We just do vegetables and flowers. We don't have animals, but in our situation, it really helps if I have my own, because or else he's got them. Years I begged for another wheelbarrow. We don't need one. We've got this one. Yeah, but you're always using it. And so when I got my own, yes, he did use both of them, but sometimes I can use it too. So
That's a really good point.
yeah.
There are things like we need two. We need two of these.
That's so fun. And some tools you don't know that you need until you get one, and then you think, oh, how did I live without this? Like her gorilla cart, I think, is probably one of those that you buy one and you have no idea how much you're going to use it. That's fun.
Yeah, just her saying that, I'm like, oh, can I get a gorilla cart here? I'm looking like, maybe that needs to be in the get next list.
Well, I would say, and it is exactly that, because my husband bought it for me for a Mother's Day gift. And we always do, like, he knows me, practical stuff. Sorry, I got this son. And so he got it. And I was like, great, honey. Thanks. And then it has become like my favorite, that and my the double wheeled wheelbarrow where it has the two front wheels. Those two things, man. But so it's exactly what that was, Tandy. I didn't know I needed it, and now I have to have one.
That's so good.
That's awesome. This has been really, really fun. This has been a really good time. Kelli even sent me information on how to wrap up. So how are we going to wrap up, Kelli?
I don't know. I think we had a good wrap up.
This
I
was
was
fun.
trying to be all oh, if you want to follow, look at me. I did. I was like, if you want to follow us, here are our little Common Ground Alaska on Instagram or on Facebook. You can like the podcast. I'm so bad at this. These are those things where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I always try. Like Tandy's like, we need to what, like or review our podcast? What do I say, Tandy? She's so good at keeping us organized.
Oh no. Well, the two of us together keep it going. Yeah, no, I think it helps us if you follow. I think you're supposed to follow a podcast or follow us on YouTube. And then if you give reviews and if you give reviews on specific episodes and comment, then that really helps us too. So if we do a good job on a podcast, and I would love to know, what do you want to hear from us on the podcast? Why didn't we think of asking that question? That was a good question. So what can we talk about?
Send us a message. Let us know anything
Yeah.
you'd like.
Email us or message us on Facebook or something. But I mean, we're here to talk about whatever we can do to be encouraging or helpful. So yeah, let us know what you'd like to hear. Yeah. And I just want to thank everyone for coming, and we may do this again. We'll see.
Yay.
Poor Kelly. What time do you get up in the morning?
2:45 right now. This definitely pushed the whole bedtime situation for me tonight, but it's okay. It's worth it. It's worth the time spent.
Well, thank you very much for spending
Absolutely.
the time, Kelly. Now, good night.
I am going to bed now.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was so good to have you ladies.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.